In November 2012, Urban Restoration Enhancement Corporation became the newest partner with the Southern Regional Asset Building Coalition, launching LABEST. LABEST connected with community-based organizations, policymakers, advocates, key stakeholders, and universities who are poised to address asset and wealth creation issues in the state of Louisiana. According to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, Louisiana currently ranks 6th among all 50 states for the largest income disparities between wealthy and low-income households. The average income of the richest households in Louisiana is 14 times larger than the income of the bottom 20% of low-income households. We traveled throughout the state to listen.
Discussion, we identify the problem in our community as being literacy as well as economic development, lack of economic development. Some of the solutions that we came up with was that we would somehow get together and do a community needs assessment. Just because this may be priority for us, it may not be priority for the community. So we would allow the community to identify their own problem or their deficits. And then what we would do from that, we would analyze the data that we have, and then we would procure the experts to come in and fine tune and help them identify goals as to move past this problem. From that meeting, we would prioritize the goals because we know we can't fix all things at one time. So we would prioritize the goals collectively as a community. And from that meeting, what we would come up with is a plan, and not only a plan, but how are we going to implement this plan to achieve the identified goals. And that way it'll show that you're evolving your community. And you
fundamental problem of internal communication, lack of real civic awareness and education, finding ways to make the community at large, particularly the poor and the dispossessed, better aware of what's happening within their community, not only so that they're less reactive and more proactive, but also in order to do that so that you can have more engaged and constructive and substantive discussions and dialogue with the community at large. It's hard to engage the power elite, the power structure itself, if you don't really understand what the problems are. And if by the time you become aware of what the problems are, you're on a long learning curve, that means by the time you learn what's happening and understand it, the decision is already made. So we decided that it was critical and fundamental to try to do something to better engage the community, to make itself more aware, finding some ways to use social media, finding some ways to re-engage regular media, the media that we are traditionally aware of, radio, television, newspapers, but also finding ways to be innovative with what exists now to help people be better engaged and to help people better understand. And what we would find by doing this would probably be that we're not nearly as divided along racial lines and economic lines as we think. And it also would help us solidify as a Black community, and as all the communities, a group think that would help us be more direct and more efficient in our political activism or any kind of social advocacy that we want to engage in.
The gap in net worth between upper-income Americans and the rest of the country has increased dramatically. People of color are especially affected by the growing gap. Louisiana's high rate of poverty and lack of cohesive collaborative process gives LABEST the unique opportunity to leverage a coalition to address economic security.
It's hard to say how do you galvanize a community when we don't about economics.
If you work 40 hours a week and minimum wage, I mean, you're barely going to have enough to pay one house note.
What has happened with the changes in those policies dealing with child care assistance is that families who are women who are trying to go to school, who have a job, they can't maintain that level of education or job security when the child care system has been cut so dramatically. And I think that this is a case that's gone on for years, is that moms are just supposed to make it all work, make it all happen with very little support from the outside. And that is an advocacy issue in itself right there.
there should be laws that prohibit these things from happening. So not only are you taking laws off the books, you need to be able to add specific laws to the books as well. You have to advocate. Knowledge is power. You have to learn what's there. You have to build. You have to form a team, and you have a voice, and you can't be afraid to use it.
With the voices of the people closest to the problems involved in every phase of developing solutions.
And the first thing we came up with was lack of leadership from the top down and from the bottom up. We're not together as a whole community. You have pockets of it. Over here you have different nonprofit organizations in the area. But where can we go to as a whole to make us whole again?
These are the issues that we came up with that we feel are relevant to our success in this area. Number one, quality food access. We have no grocery store here, so therefore we have to go outside of this area, like the St. Bernard Parish and so forth, and prices are quite nationally very high. So we really need a food store in our area. Another thing was access to education, because the majority of our kids in the lower ninth ward, they have to be bused to other schools across the bridge and the West Bank, uptown.
Residents from the parishes and communities in North Louisiana identify themselves differently. The Northeast Delta region is among the poorest in the country.
This is recent census data, and it has revealed that Monroe itself is the seventh most poverty-stricken metropolitan statistical area in the United States. That's not the state or the region, but in the United States.
There is a need for more education in these areas that seem to be blindsiding a lot of people.
So when we understand all the different areas in which we're good at, we can build our wealth and our assets.
We've heard residents from across the state speak up. Some can advocate. Some can convince others of the importance of wealth creation and asset building. Others can mobilize a team of activists. Together, we can help Louisianians build economic security over a lifetime.
In the communities that we live in, it's a lack of education. And when you say education, most people think academically. But we were talking about education and knowledge in all areas, such as academic is one, community, health, housing, economic development, and education on the different systems that we live in. So it's a lack of education in all those areas is what we know that's weak in our community. And we all agreed on it because we all have those stories that connect with not having the knowledge. So what we came up with today was that we were all going to become a strong member of LABEST and work with the grass tops to train us to work with the grassroots community and move forward with the issues that are determined in the area by the community from our grassroots gatherings. We've just sit here today, we've tried a lot of things in our community already. So we just think that if we just get trained in that way with LABEST, that we would move forward with our solutions by letting everybody be trained in how to get to the real solution.
I want to offer a vote of thanks to LABEST for imbuing the public with an idea about how to be successful and build wealth. My name is John Daniel. I'm the president of Unity Day Youth and Family Zone. The focus here, though, is on the word economic, which is key to wealth building. The Greek root of economic is household management. It's important that we understand that as the basis and platform for developing wealth. If you are at home and the family isn't coordinated in a fashion to be a good problem solver, it would be very difficult to create wealth. Well, what is wealth? Wealth is money, but it's also a way in which you think. Economic development for a family requires that they understand how to make good decisions with their money. If I'm going to a payday lender with my check, it's not a good idea. If I'm not planning for a healthy family, an educated family, a family that has work skills, then I'm planning not to create wealth. The bottom line here is no matter what the legislation, the fact of the matter, people at the grassroots level need to know problem-solving skills and skills to build wealth. At the end of the day, using your money wisely and not throwing it to a payday lender, or using it in a fashion where you're doing too much entertainment rather than education is the problem here. At the end of the day, we need to know a couple things: how to use our head, our heart, and our good habits to create wealth.